few minutes to fix the one way. Mukta, can you hear me?
Did you ask me to go ahead?
Yes, Mukta, please go ahead.
Did you ask me to go ahead?
Yes.
Or do I start from the beginning, or?
If you can give a brief about the last two slides, I think one way people will also get to speed.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning. I don't mind going back to it again. Okay, so people on 2A, please be patient because I'm going to repeat all this for people who are on 1-way. So today's training is going to be about various aspects of outreach and enriching. So we are going to go fairly fast, people on 1-way. I'll repeat what I already said. We'll go fairly fast today. This is just to give a quick overview. And each city, please schedule a separate time with through Ma Muktika. And everyone who's going to present today, it's either me or Ma Muktika or Paul. And in fact, when Sri Sadhana and Ma Anupama come back, they will be presenting some of the talks. Ma Muktika can help you schedule your one-on-one enriching time with this whole group. So every city coordinator, please reach out to her. Okay. So the next, go to the next slide, Ma. Now let's start with the definition of enriching. So this definition of enriching may be slightly different from what you have in mind, but this is based on what Swamiji has told us again and again, based on the science of enriching. So here goes. The enriching is defined as causing other people's reality where they are and making them understand that there is a higher reality, and the path to that higher reality is Swamiji and inner awakening. So as you see, there are two phases here. One, causing people's reality where they are, and where they are is underlined for a reason. And after that, you make them understand that there is a path to a higher reality. And that path is through Swamiji and inner awakening. Now, how do we measure enriching? Enriching is measured through IA intention. People are convinced that they want to go to inner awakening, and then they file an intention to get Swamiji's blessings to go to inner awakening. And that is when you can count that person as being enriched. Next slide, Ma. Now, the moment you hear this definition of enriching, I'm sure there are many questions that come within us. One question is, what does it mean to say where they are? Another question is, I help them achieve something. I help them overcome a problem with their spouse. I help somebody overcome a problem at work. Why isn't that enriching? Isn't that enriching? The third question that may come inside of us is, why is the path to higher reality only through inner awakening? Couldn't there be many other paths? Or other questions like, I enrich someone, they want to go to IA, but they haven't filed an intention. Does it still count as being enriched? And what I would encourage all of you is, any such question that comes at this point, please get all those questions answered before you move forward. And the opportunity for this is to get these questions answered is when you meet one-on-one with our team, when you have your own city one-on-one session with the enriching team. Feel free to ask all these questions and get all of them answered, because only then you'll be confident in moving forward with enriching. Next slide, Ma. Okay, so once all these questions are answered inside of you, you will be ready to cause. Start with your own space. Be convinced that you are here to cause other people's reality. And when that happens, your reality will be caused automatically. And when this is actually such a great place to start. And I know all of us won't be 100% convinced of this. So I'm going to take back that phrase that says be 100% convinced. You know what? Enrich even if you're not 100% convinced. Because enriching and completion are two sides of the same coin. The more you enrich, the more complete you will be, and the more you will be convinced of this fact that when you cause others' reality, your reality will be caused automatically. So even if you are not 100% convinced, it's okay. Start enriching. And as you enrich more people, you will be enriched more and more. So when you start with your space, what do? First, create the space for causing the other person's reality to happen where they are, and for you to lead them to their highest reality. And creating a space means something very specific. It means imagine it is already done. And once you imagine it's already done, take full responsibility to make it happen. And taking full responsibility means you putting in your 100% effort to create the reality for the other person. Next slide. Okay. So the first and important step is to understand where they are. And this is where, if people didn't understand the phrase, what does it mean to enrich them or cause their reality where they are, this is what it means. Swamiji said that people come to you for listening, not for solutions. So the first thing, and perhaps the only thing we do, is listen to others. Just be an empty space where they can pour themselves into you. Let them talk about their life. What is on the top of their mind? What are the problems they are facing? Focus 100% on what the other person wants now. See, understand that there is a conversation that is going on in their mind, and that conversation is occupying their mind. Before you can change the conversation to something else, you need to complete the current conversation. So understanding what is the current conversation in their mind is very, very critical. For example, if someone has a deadline at work coming up in July, right, or in August, telling them, don't worry about the deadline, go to Inner Awakening, your problem will be solved, does not speak into their listening. Because for them, that deadline may be the most important thing for them now. If they have some other health problem, right, the health problem may need immediate attention, and that may be what you need to focus on. If someone is going through a divorce, then you help them with it first before you talk about them going to Inner Awakening. Because the most important thing is they understand that we are able to listen to them and solve their problems. Next step now. So, part of understanding where they are is all about asking questions. You ask them about what do you believe, or why do you believe what you believe. See, they are in a certain situation and they believe that they are having problems. How do we solve the problem? The problem can be solved by the other person listening to themselves and understanding what cognition they are bringing into the situation, how the situation is occurring to them, and for them to undo that occurrence and solve the problem based on completion. So the only thing we can do is ask them questions on what are their beliefs in that current situation, and why do they believe what they believe, and if they believe differently, how will it change how they act. All these questions, if you ask them, they will slowly unravel in their own mind why they are caught in this current situation. Helping them find their solution does not mean giving them a solution. See, most of the time, in halfway through a conversation with somebody, you will easily see a solution, right? And we are so eager to give them that solution. But often people don't listen to solutions when it doesn't come from inside themselves. So let's try not to tell them what they should do, and let's lead them to their own solution. And our listening will definitely lead them there. Next slide now. So when you start them on the series of questions, you will help them complete the current conversation. First thing we should not do is to tell people they are incomplete. Right? Completing them does not mean telling people, look, you are incomplete, you need to complete. This is not something that speaks into most people's listening. Like Swamiji said, if you see someone who is incomplete, don't tell them they're incomplete. Take responsibility for their completion. And taking responsibility for their completion means you need to do the things that removes their obstacles and solves their problem. So if somebody is going through a divorce, they need a good lawyer, you go find that for them, right? You go help them understand what it takes. If somebody has a problem at work, you sit and understand why is it that they have a problem at work. At the end of your helping them, they are ready to listen to you because you have created possibilities where they saw impossibilities. Once you make it happen, they can see how you have moved things for them which they could not move themselves. And that shifts something inside of them. So here I can give you a very simple example. I had called someone and I wanted to enrich that person's wife to go to Inner Awakening. The person who I called already had gone to Inner Awakening. So we were asking, can your wife go to Inner Awakening? Do you want to file an intention on her behalf? So within the first minute, the conversation shifted to the fact that the other person did not have a job. And he had lost his job a few months ago and he was looking for a job and he was not able to find one. So for the next 2 hours, the entire conversation that we had was only about his job. I asked him to send me his resume and I started to look at it and we discussed about what are the skills he has and discussed about why this resume does not fully reflect what he can and cannot do. And maybe this is not the right way to form a resume. So we spent about half an hour, 45 minutes just rewriting the resume. And after that, I realized that the way he was positioning himself, he could do 2 different kinds of roles and he was trying to put all that into one single resume. So divided the resume into 2 kinds of resume, one focusing on one skill set and another focusing on another skill set. And then after that, another half an hour, 45 minutes just applying online, looking up monster.com, trying to find jobs, trying to find him the right kind of jobs. So at the end of 2 hours, all we did was work on his problem. And then that's the end of the phone call. Later that night, he himself calls me back. Yes.
Two-way audio is broken. 1 second.
Nithyanandam, are other centers able to hear Mukta? No, okay, sorry. We are checking. Premia Swami?
Now it's okay, man.
Mukta, can you keep speaking something? Enriching us, not about the presentation, but about in general until people are able to hear you. If the centers are able to hear Mukta, please show a thumbs up.
Yes, ma.
Okay, go ahead. Now it's fixed.
Okay, now it's fixed? Great. All right, I'll continue. At what point, Amrita, couldn't you hear? Okay, so let's go back to the story I was saying. When we were focusing on the other person's job, instead of focusing on how we can get his wife to go to Inner Awakening, and we spent all the time helping that other person think about his job and how we can apply. And later that night, this person calls me back and says, you know what, I just filed an intention for my wife and I put down the deposit for her to go to Inner Awakening. So clearly the key thing that happened in the morning was that the conversation that was on the top of his mind, which was why am I not able to move forward, right, with his job application. It does not mean that 2 hours later he got a job, but 2 hours later it was not sitting on the top of his head as a worry which was occupying every thought he had. Because at least he saw a way forward. Where he didn't see any possibilities, now he's seeing possibilities. That means he has shifted and his conversation has shifted and there is room to create a new conversation inside that person. So that is what we have to do as far as enriching is concerned. Next slide now. Okay, now that we have the other persons here listening, the key thing for us is to understand where in the enriching funnel, or I won't say funnel, where in the enriching process they are stuck. And understand our goal in enriching is to make the other person be convinced that Swamiji is going to lead them to their higher reality, right? Till now, what we have done is help cause their reality where they are. Now we have to lead them to a higher reality, right? And there are 10 different statements you will commonly face when you encounter people. See, let me read these statements. These are all just example statements. You may hear them very differently, and there are ones that I have not mentioned here. But these 10 statements roughly correspond to 10 different states, which is why I have these statements. So let me quickly read the statements. First thing you'll hear from people is, look, I am fine the way I am. I have no suffering in life, right? The next thing people may say is, you know what, this is how life is. Nothing can be done. Life means suffering. What else can be done? The next thing they can say is, look, I am doing well as far as society is concerned. What is the problem? I may be suffering, but I am successful as far as society is concerned. Why do I need to do things differently? First thing is, they'll say, okay, I have a problem, but I don't think a spiritual solution can help. Maybe I'll do a personality development course. Maybe I'll go do a training course at work. Maybe I'll go learn new skill, like I learn C#, I learn programming. That will solve all the problems I have. People aren't convinced that the spiritual solution is the right solution for them. The next step is, it'll be tough for them to believe that one technique can solve all their problems, right? You tell them, look, completion is the ultimate technique. Well, they won't believe that this technique can solve all their problems. Next is, the next question maybe, look, there are so many solutions. How do I know yours is the right one? Or how do I know what you're telling me is the right one? And then, even if they are convinced that what you're saying is the right one, they can say, look, there are so many gurus, they all teach the same thing. So one thing, Manyanatma, they are saying on one way they are seeing a white screen.
I got the message, Mukta. We are checking here.
Yeah.
I feel the audio is audible, so you can continue. We will fix it immediately.
Okay, great. So the one thing they may say is, look, there are so many gurus. Don't they all teach the same thing? This is a common thing I've heard from people. Yeah, they all say the same thing only, right? And this is where I have most fun talking to people, when they say all gurus says the same thing. And the next question they say is, see, once all this is done, this is the place where they start entering self-doubt. So till then, it is a question of something external, right? At this point is the question of, will this solution work for me? And I'm telling you, everybody will have a reason why they are so special, that their problem is so special that the solution will not work for them. I know it will work for him because, he's not married yet. So I know he'll work for him because, when you have kids, it's different. I am something different, some reason or others they'll give, and this is, you need to look at exactly where their self-doubt comes from. And another question people have is, yeah, I know I have to solve this problem, but you know what, I have something so urgent to take care of. I don't think I can step out even 2 days. I can't even go for 3 days. How will I go for 21 days? Why not I solve this other problem I have first before I come and do this? See, there may be some very genuine issues that are facing in their life, like life events, and then sometimes they may be giving excuses. It is up to us to understand when they are doing which one. and listening to them will really tell us that. So the next thing they will say is, finally, if they even decide that, look, I do have to go, they'll say, why do I have to pay money? Or why do I have to take so much time off for this? All these questions come up in people's mind. Next slide, ma. Manyanatma, next slide. Manyanatma, can you hear me, ma? Okay, so
Yes.
Here is now I'm going to tell you 10 steps through which everybody has to walk, right? These 10 steps correspond to the 10 statements that I gave in the previous slide. There is actually a very beautiful. The second thing is, one, that you accept that there is suffering. Then they have to understand there is a solution.
Mukta, the one-way video has been fixed.
Okay, ma. Thank you. Okay. So the phases that people would go through is that knowing that you are suffering, and second, knowing that, hey, this can be solved, and for them to understand that life does not have to be full of suffering. This is not a norm. People are just used to having some problem or the other. In fact, you will come across people who say, you know what, everything is going right today for me. I know something bad is right around the corner. A lot of people think like that. So for all those people to understand that life does not have to be this way, it's a very big jump for them to come up from where they are to understanding that life does not have to be this way. Third step, they have to understand that it is not in the society's interests for you to find the solution. So to be bold enough to find the solution, they have to kind of step outside the norms of where they live, whether it comes to listening to family or doing what is needed in terms of what the society expects of you. They have to step out a little bit outside the lines for them to get this. And the fourth state is understanding that a spiritual solution is the only solution. The next step is to understand that what an ideal solution will look like. And this is actually a substantial step, because this involves telling people about all the things that Swamiji is teaching, like inner awakening as a package. The process of completion with yourself, completion with others, living integrity, authenticity, responsibility, and enriching in our life, and having the ability to manifest your reality, and having an enlightened master who can co-create that reality with you. So they have to understand that an ideal solution would look something like that. And once they understand that an ideal solution looks like that, we can tell them, look, inner awakening, or the solution that Swamiji is providing, is exactly what you're looking for. And once they are convinced of that, then we have to talk to them about all their doubts regarding why Swamiji is the right guru. How what Swamiji teaches is so unique and so different, which, so many people I've talked to don't understand that inner awakening can solve the smallest problem you have in life, all the way to giving people enlightenment. Whatever stage in which you are in life, you will get that going to the inner awakening. It is structured so beautifully that anything you want is achieved through inner awakening. And understanding that Swamiji is the right guru for them, the right person to give them the solution, is something people need to understand. In this state, there is also a different way of looking at it. People don't have to be convinced, they just have to be open, right? Once they come, they'll be convinced, but they just have to be open to come and experience him. So don't have to force to convince the other person that, look, there is nothing else. Just let them come and experience. And if they are open enough to do that, that's all you need. And once they come experience some program, like let's say they come for Kalpataru or NDY, then, or when we help them work through a couple of their problems, then they will understand that, look, hey, this solution works for me also. And once they understand the solution works for them, next is for them to understand that this is urgent. We cannot postpone it. Just like when you don't treat cancer, how it spreads. This is urgent, you cannot postpone it. And finally, understanding the value of the solution. See, people understand price. They don't understand value. Price is easy to look in today's world. Oh, look, this has a price tag of $30, $40, $100, 1,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees. But don't understand the value of what this thing can give in their life, which is where all our testimonials about how it has cured diseases in our lives, how it has saved marriages, right? How it has cured cancer, how it has given us new jobs. All these tell people the value of things. And how can they put a price on curing cancer, right? How can they put a price on a divorce that has been stopped? How can they put a price on getting a job when none was possible, right? All this because shows them how valuable this whole solution is. Okay, so each of these is actually a pretty in-depth discussion, and I know many of you will have many questions. So let's keep these questions. Some we'll answer now, some we'll answer when we go for the in-depth training. Next slide, Ma'am. Okay, so the important thing now is, in these 10 steps, finding out where the person is stuck. See, understand that it's a progression, and always start with step 1. And the most important thing you will face is people to understand that they have a problem. Once you have that step, others kind of are easier, right? And address them one step at a time. And at each step, you share Swamiji's videos, quotes, answers. Those are all after Pramana. Sometimes you share your own insights and experience, which is Atma Pramana. And both of them, and sometimes you can also share Shastra Pramana. And all of these will help them convince one at a time. Can you go to the next slide, ma'am? So, and when you know where they are in this enriching funnel, you also will know what will they need. For example, depending on where they are, different kind of information and different kind of action will help them. For example, if they are early in the funnel, they need more knowledge more than anything else. At that time, sharing YouTube videos, asking them to come for Swamiji's satsangs, giving them books may help. If they are in the middle of this process, and they are mainly looking to be convinced that this will work for them, then programs will help them. Helping them with actually solving their problems, walking them through conflict resolution classes, that will help them. And towards the end, one of the things that will really help them is time with Swamiji, experiencing him, bring them to programs, and that will really convince them that, hey, this is where I'm very comfortable with what Swamiji is teaching. This is what I want in my life. And almost, mostly towards the end, what people really need is face time with devotees who can give them clarity and make them trust that it can work. And finally, important thing for you is understand how to lead them to the right information at the right time. This is an art, and you will learn as you go along. Next slide. In this whole process, the important part is us, right? Let us not be afraid to admit to ourselves that we don't have all the answers, right? And when we feel we are lacking in answers, let's reach out to each other and ask each other, what is the answer? And we also should watch Swamiji's videos, try to go back to old satsangs, dig up videos, search them on YouTube, and try to get answers for each other. And this is the most fun part in my mind, because when somebody asks me a question, that I cannot fully answer, it really tells me that I also have the same question. It's just that I haven't really asked myself this question. And so answering this for myself, I can really tell the other person in a very convincing way. All of you should watch the series of videos called Path to Your Awakening. It's a 7-video series by Swamiji. And if any of you haven't watched this, please contact your city coordinator or local Mahant, and we can get this video to series to all of you. Also, there is a YouTube channel called Guaranteed Solution, and a really amazing set of collections of videos where many of your questions can be answered. Okay. Next slide. So throughout this process, we are there to support you. Wherever you want any information, we are there to give it to you. So like I said, we will have deeper and deeper training in going into each step, answering every question. We will also provide strategies to listen and how to speak into the listening of others for various situations. And as and when we move forward, we'll provide many videos, many quotes that you can use, strategies that work for others. We can share with each other. And finally, we are available for Q&A at any time. Just contact Mahamuktika and then she'll schedule a training for your city. Okay, that is all I had in this presentation. Now, if there are a couple of questions came on via email, I'll answer them. Yeah, let's go to the first one. Let's start with this one. So Sanjay Verma from San Jose, he says that I don't think we have to prove to people they are suffering. A lot of people may do it for exploration, Kundalini awakening, knowledge, etc., etc. So it might be neither necessary nor productive to take time on the path of acknowledging suffering internally, externally. So yeah, I can answer this question. Different people have different needs, right? In the end, the key question is people are seeking. They are looking for something. The question is, what are they seeking? That is what you have to find, right? The people who already are convinced that they are seeking for a spiritual solution, for those people, you don't have to tell them, look, this is an exploration. Come and explore better ideas, right? And those are people who are already convinced of that a spiritual solution is needed in their lives. And what you are indicating is people who are exploring Kundalini awakening and higher experiences have already progressed far into the funnel, right? They are not in question 1 anymore. They are in question 4 or 5 or 6. The people who are still in question 1 are still working with they are working with a band-aid as opposed to working with their wounds. See, I can go much more into detail, but essentially a mamakara is always a wound, and the ahankara is always a band-aid. You can always work with having the most beautiful band-aid and the most beautiful decorated band-aid and keep replacing it over and over again. But that is not going to solve the wound that is underneath. So gently opening up the wound. I'm not saying shout into their ears, look, you have a negative mamakara about yourself. That's not what I mean. It's a very gentle process. And you should see these 7 videos where Swamiji talks about it. The very first video talks about this only. It's a very gentle process, and it's a subtle process that you have to understand how to subtly open up people. And one of the things Swamiji says very clearly in that video is that problems don't occur to you, you occur to problems. This people have to understand first. And they have to, and another thing Swamiji says is that the very pattern of struggle is a failure. The very pattern of struggling in life is a thing. It does not mean you hurt them in the process. It just means they are opening up to something they have hidden all their life. Okay. Sanjay, we can have a longer discussion when we talk with San Jose. Question from Houston. On enriching, how do we qualify one as a seeker before they file the intention? what are the criteria to move up in the funnel as a potential IA candidate? There is no criteria. We are all seekers, honestly. There is nobody who is not a seeker because everybody is seeking something. People think that a material solution is what will solve their problems. Like Swamiji says, when we are young, we are told that, hey, just finish school with high marks and you will be set in life. When you finish school, they tell you just get into a good college, you will be set in life. When you finish college, they say just get a good job, you'll be set in life. So, and this keeps going on in our life. So, at each point we are seeking fulfillment, but the idea that we have is that the next material thing that we accumulate is going to bring us that fulfillment. And at some point when we feel that these material things are not going to bring fulfillment, we search for fulfillment in other things. So everybody is a seeker at some point. So we don't have to qualify one person, anybody as a seeker. The criteria to move up in a funnel, honestly, there is no criteria. Somebody who is open can have all the questions in the world and yet step into inner awakening. So in the end, the only criteria that people need to have is be open to receiving something fantastic. And so I know people who had all these questions and did not answer any one of them and yet stepped into inner awakening. So you always have to give people the opportunity to do that. Okay, this is Ma Priya Swami from Vidadi. She has two high potentials for experiencing Guru conflict. How do I enrich them that Swamiji is the best way without appearing to be putting down their current Guru? Like I said, Ma, there is the key thing to for you to tell them is that what Swamiji is teaching does not conflict with what anybody else is saying, right? And I know someone who is a very deep art of living devotee. In fact, when Sri Sri actually comes into town, this person drives Sri Sri around and takes care of him and things like that. This person actually has a son who is autistic and he wants to bring him to Swamiji for healing, right? There are people who have gone to Jaggi Vasudev who are doing his 8-day Samyama program, who now say, look, I really want to come and do this 21-day program with Swamiji because they understand the power of Kundalini awakening and the understanding that doing 21 days in a row will make all this understanding permanent inside of them. So for anybody, there is something more to gain from what Swamiji is teaching. So you just have to help them understand what they are not seeing, and there is no conflict anymore. It is just how they can move forward in life with getting more and more. That's all. Okay. Okay. Those are the major questions that I have. So if there are no other questions, can we move on to the second training? All right. Manyanatma, can we move on, ma?
This is the one, right?
Okay. There is actually one last question from Camus, Hong Kong. There is a participant from Parenting Workshop who has sent IA intention form last year, and she has planned to go and engineers for the whole family, herself, her husband and daughter. But she found she could not understand Swamiji's English at the same time. She rejected to have translation as she is very good at English, but she knew the blockage on her can make her not listen to Swamiji. She now refuses to go to IA because she told Camus that there are other spiritual teachers, that she doesn't need to face her problem, but the healer can clean her energy problem on her. How to talk to this type of people? this is actually something very specific, Ma. We can deal with it. Ma Canvas, I'll just talk to you separately on this, and we will discuss this deeply. Okay. Okay. So let's go on to the next talk. So this talk is interesting talk in the sense that this is put together by Ma Anupama, and she is not able to join us today, so I'm going to give this talk on her behalf. Many of us face this issue that, hey, I'm going to a fresh new audience, and I don't know what to say. I want to introduce them to Kalpataru and Swamiji, and also Inner Awakening, but I want to bring them to the temple to experience more programs. What kind of talk do I give to people? So this talk is that kind of talk, and what it does is it is different from what we normally try to do. What we normally try to do is tell people that, hey, look, you have a problem, come, let's find a solution for it, right? It is tempting for us to sit somebody down and walk them through their conflict and resolve it. While that is very effective, it can take a little bit of time. So when we are addressing a larger audience, this kind of talk can be inspirational talk, to show them something new that they may not have heard before, to invite them to experience something different, make them open to experiencing something different. So this is an intro talk to Kalpataru and IA. So this is all about the secrets of manifesting a perfect life. Okay, next slide. So first, we all have to understand that life is a wish-fulfilling tree. Life is Kalpataru. And everything we have in life today, which we created in our life, once started off as thoughts. And thoughts are the seeds. The thought patterns is the tree. And the reality that we get is the fruit. So what we have as reality today, the fruit we have today, started off as a seed, which are thoughts. And now, if we understand the science behind how these thoughts became a tree and became a fruit, we can control our life. This is the basic idea that we are trying to tell people. Next slide. I want to say something more about the previous slide. There we can give a very nice story that Swamiji had said. What he said is, like, there was a man sleeping under a tree, and he didn't realize that the tree is a wish-fulfilling tree. It's a Kalpataru. And he said, hey, why not, can I know how nice it will be if I get some food? And suddenly a pot of food appears before him. And then he says, wow, wouldn't it be nice if I had a bed to sleep on? And suddenly a bed appears before him. At that instant, he realizes he's sitting under a tree which is granting all his wishes. And suddenly his fear overtakes him. He says, what if I imagine a tiger jumping out of nowhere and eating me? What will happen? And then a tiger jumps out of nowhere and eats him. Right? So really, this is our life. We are all sitting, our life is the wish-fulfilling tree. And we are sitting under that wish-fulfilling tree. So any kind of positive thoughts we have will realize, but the moment we start letting self-doubt and other negative thoughts come into play, they will also come into reality. And we are left wondering why this happened to us. Okay? Next slide. Next slide, Ma. And our thought patterns are very much shaped by the past. And we all know what incompletions are. The previous one, Ma, the previous slide, slide number 3. Yeah. Our thoughts today are just a reflection of the thoughts we had in the past, or the incidents that we faced in the past. And these are incompletions. So incompletions are nothing more than leftover fragments of past incidents, thoughts, and emotions that sit in the present, and they limit or distort our future. Essentially, they limit our response to life, and they stop us from acting in a way that is beneficial to us. And these thought patterns happen both consciously and unconsciously. Next slide. Essentially, the thought patterns we have today are creating our default future, right? The incompletions, what they do is they take our past and they make sure that the future also reflects what happened in our past. And because of that, nothing new can happen. Because for anything fresh to happen, we need to first heal our past. Without healing the past, how can we heal the future or create a future? And essentially, the default future that we have created because of incompletion is like driving forward by looking in the rear view mirror. When you look in the rear view mirror, all you can see is the path that you took. And you will imagine that the path in front of you is just similar. But if you're coming to the edge of a cliff, you won't realize that you're going to go off a cliff. Or if the road is curving and turning off to the right, you won't even know that the road is curving, or you need to take a different path. So this is how the default future looks like when we drive our life based on incompletion. Next slide. So the basic idea to understand is that if we channel our thoughts, then we can channel our life. And this is our ticket out of the default future. And if we channel our thoughts, then we can heal our past, we can rewrite our future, and manifest a reality which we want, that can be as powerful as we want. So this introduction talks about one aspect of the power that we have, right? It talks about the power of thoughts and how that power of thought can be channeled for us to have unleash the power of thoughts in our life. But you can tell people that, look, Swamiji talks about not only the power of thoughts, but power of words, power of feeling, and then ultimately the power of living. But today in this talk, I'm only telling you one line that he talks about, which is the power of thoughts. Next slide. So the unfortunate thing is that your thoughts are not easily channeled, right? It is, the thoughts are like, mind is like a monkey. It's just jumping all over the place. And the analogy I always give people is, imagine our hand is an extremely useful tool. We use our hands to do amazing things, to solve huge problems, construct big things. At the same time, when we are not using our hand, imagine if our hand is jumping all over the place, moving around, hitting people, knocking things over, how annoyed we would be with our hand. But our mind is just like that. Our mind is an amazing tool. It can solve great problems for us. But when we are not using it to solve problems, it is jumping all over the place, it is knocking things around, creating problems for us. Unfortunately, we take this for granted. We think that somehow when we are not using the mind, all the crazy things that the mind does is something useful for us, something that we should follow, something that is imperative that we follow. And this is why, as long as we have this idea of the mind, no traditional method is going to work. Positive thinking is not going to work, willpower is not going to work, because what is driving the mind to go crazy is something that we don't understand, right? So the problem we have is we are left with this situation where we jump from, we don't know what to do, we don't know how to channel the mind. So we think that we can solve the life's problems by solving one small problem at a time. First we try to take care of our health. That means our job suffers, and once we take care of our job, our relationships suffer. There is a really beautiful video which you should show at this point, where Swamiji talks about different kinds of life that people live, and I'll come to that video next, but this is very relevant to this particular slide. In the end, that you may win or lose in a particular area. Somebody who's smoking may quit smoking, right? But it does not mean that they have succeeded in life, right? Just because you have succeeded in one aspect does not make you a success, right? main thing is to understand is that the pattern of struggling, when you have that, you have already lost. The next slide, ma. So, Manyanatma, is this the right slide deck, ma? Isn't there a different one? This is the long version. Can you load the short version, ma?
Okay. I downloaded this from the Dropbox. Can you email me the
short? It's right there in the same Dropbox file. Let me email it to you. Okay, Manyanatma, I just mailed it to you, and while you are getting it, I can talk about it here. So the next slide actually is a video by Swamiji. It is the first video in the 7-video series that I talked about, which is called Your Path to the Path to Your Awakening. And all the points we discussed in the previous slide, he talks about it so beautifully in that video. He talks about different kinds of life people live. Yes, that's exactly that one. He talks about different kinds of life people live. See, some people live life by just running without knowing where they are going. Right? Morning to evening, you do something. Your life is filled with activity, but in the end, you don't know what the goal of life is. The second type of people are people who think that life's problems can be solved by attacking the problem one at a time. You solve the health problem, and by the time you don't have enough time at home, and by the time you get enough time at home, you don't have enough time at work. By the time you don't have enough time at work, you start putting on weight. By the time you try to lose weight, you're not able to spend enough time, doing homework with your son. So it goes on in circles. There are other people who say that, look, life is like this. It is full of problems. What can I do? And the fourth kind of people are ones who say, because life is full of problems, you know what? I'll just withdraw from life. I'll call myself spiritual. I'll put a backpack on my back, and then I'll travel the world and try to find, attend various spiritual programs and try to get something out of it. And Swamiji very clearly says in this is that any kind of lifestyle, any of these lifestyles is actually a failure, because you are still suffering. The pattern of suffering itself means that you have lost. The pattern of struggle itself means that you lost. And second, he says that problems don't occur to you, you occur to problems. So the key thing is to solve us first, because that's the only way to solve problems. So this actually sets up the previous slide very beautifully. Now the next slide, ma. And now we talk about something a little more esoteric. So we tell them, look, now you have a problem. The way to the solution to your problem is to awaken that non-linear energy inside of you, which can make your desires become reality, which can manifest your reality. And this is the Kundalini energy. Simply add the Kundalini energy to your desire, it will become a reality. Now the question is, how can we awaken this Kundalini energy? And that can be done only in a couple of ways. My next slide. So this actually, this is a little bit more about Kundalini energy, saying that this latent potential energy, it corresponds to the mitochondrial cell activity. And since mitochondria controls the metabolism level, it also controls aging. Awakening the Kundalini leads to dramatic improvement in how we live, how our immunity system works, how long we live, how relaxed we are, and also this shows that there are some experiments which show that mitochondria are directly related to anti-aging also. And we can also talk about the energy centers which are proved by Kirlian photography, and the energy centers also show when and there is also a QEEG test that we have done which show that when Kundalini is awakened, how the mind behaves. So there is solid evidence and solid scientific evidence to show that Kundalini energy, once awakened, can do amazing things for us. Next slide. So how can we awaken the Kundalini energy? There are many ways of doing it. It can be done through yoga and pranayama. We can have certain herbal preparations. Mantras can also awaken the Kundalini. But the most powerful way of awakening the Kundalini is through initiation from an enlightened master. And here we can show the scientific study that we have done in the ashram, where just through initiation, just through diksha, people's Kundalini energy or mitochondria level has increased by 1,200%. At the end of this slide deck, there are about 20 different slides which are all supporting evidence for all the scientific studies we've done. So when we distribute this slide deck, you guys will see the first 10 slides are only the material you will present. The other 20-25 slides are all supporting material, which has results from this mitochondria study, results from health study after inner awakening, so on and so forth. Next slide, ma'am. So in addition to Kundalini, there is a very powerful meditation process that Swamiji teaches, which is completion. We all know about it. In this slide, we essentially tell them how completion is a powerful way forward, right? And it is an ancient technique that is taught in Shiva Sutras, and it removes all the incompletions in our mind. And Swamiji has said that karma is actually nothing more than our belief in impossibilities. And because incompletions are the ones that create these impossibilities in us, it is essentially removing karma in our life. And once we have completion in that aspect, we lead to a powerful breakthrough in our life, and tell people they will visibly see a difference when they complete, how they step up to the next level of achievement, to a level which they never thought is possible, whether it's at work, in relationship, or in life. And of course, completion and Kundalini are very strongly related to each other. Next slide, ma'am. So the key thing is that we are going through, having Swamiji, there is a process that we create a reality, but it is not us alone who is creating this reality. We are co-creating this reality with an enlightened master. From our side, we create a strong conscious intention. We do deep completion on all the things we think are impossible, and then we act from this space of completion. Swamiji, on the other hand, he provides energy field which gives us clarity, and it provides us the ability to complete with all our self-doubts, and it almost acts like an amplifier. It amplifies. Our completion only takes us 20% of the way, and Swamiji's word that he will take us, he will co-create our reality, that actually takes us the rest of the 80%. So he removes all the obstacles from the cosmos side, and through completion, all we have to do is remove the obstacles from our side. So as a result, we become a co-creator in creating reality. Kalpataru is an event where we are a co-creator in one thought, and inner awakening is a event where we become a co-creator in our entire life or our consciousness. So that's how you introduce Kalpataru to people, and inner awakening. These are just Kalpataru is about making one thought come true, and inner awakening is about making all our desires come true and leading us to a higher reality. Next slide, ma'am. So now is a great time to introduce inner awakening. So we tell them like that when you have such an enlightened, powerful master, he is giving you both of these things. He is giving you the process of completion, which can remove all impossibilities in the past, and he is also giving you the enlightened space in which the cosmic obstacles are also removed. And that way, it is not just a simple breakthrough, right? It's not just giving you the breakthrough. He is teaching you the science of how breakthroughs happen. And essentially, it's the science of how your future can be liberated. It's the science of burning all the things that are old inside of you and giving you the free space to rewrite the future the way you want it. And that is what Swamiji is giving in Inner Awakening. And once you have that, it's like you can write your future the way you want it. It's amazing positive transformation that we cannot imagine normally. And that is what is Inner Awakening. And then at this point, we invite them to come to our local center to have, experience Swamiji either in a program or a meditation program that we may conduct on conflict resolution, or invite them to experience Kriyas, or invite them to Kalpataru, which is a first step towards Inner Awakening. Okay? That is the end of this presentation. The last slide in this is just about Inner Awakening, where your Swamiji becomes the co-creator of your reality. Any questions about this presentation? Okay, any questions? I haven't received any questions so far. So I'm assuming that this is straightforward and self-explanatory. Okay, so now that this is done, we can go on to the next presentation, which is on the next presentation will be on Facebook. Manatma, do you think people would want a short break before we go on to the next one? Or should we go to the next presentation?
If any online center wants a break, please raise your hand if you need a short break. I'm just taking a call. Online centers, you need a break, please raise your hand.
Let whoever needs a break, let them go. We will start the session. Let them come back with you. That's all.
Okay, there is about, I think, 40% of the centers who are raising their hand saying they need a short break.
Okay. So if you take a break, what is our? When do we have to stop? It's 10 o'clock there.
We can take till 10:40, Mukta.
10:40? Okay.
Yeah.
Then let them take like a 2-minute break. In 2 minutes we will start.
Mukta, 2 minutes is not a break.
Let them join. Fatma?
2 minutes is not a break. They would take it even without asking. Okay, so let's continue.
Okay, let's continue then. So, the next training is the Facebook training. So, we'll try, Ma Muktika will try and finish it in about 15 minutes, and then Paul can talk about meetup in another 20 minutes. Okay.
Nithyanandam, wake up call for all the people in Birdhi Ashram.
Nithyanandam, is everybody ready for some action now?
People in Birdhi, if you are feeling sleepy, please you can stand up and stretch yourself, or gift yourself a cup of tea or a cup of water, or you can go to the restroom. Be continuing the meeting. All the centers, please provide your authentic listening. Ma Mukti, you can continue.
Okay. Nithyanandam. So right now, whatever you have all been listening to, we'll see how we can put it into action. How are we going to practically see ourselves maintaining
Ma
the
Muktika,
faith
please hold on.
and yes,
Mahants and Kotaris in Bidhi Ashram, especially the male side, I see a lot of non-listening. There is nothing to laugh and joke here. Muktika, you can continue, ma.
okay, ma. Yeah. So now we're going to start our grassroots approach to social outreach methods, and this is Project Facebook. So grassroots means from the basic, the most simplest methods, we're going to start our approach to enriching. Everybody is going to be able to do this, and that is the idea, that wherever we are sitting, wherever we are at our homes, outside, anywhere, we can actually do this process of enriching. And the idea is to connect with people, to converse, to share, to start a communication with people, and to help cause their realities. So in this process, the first thing that I'd like to talk about is the vision for this project. The idea is to get new people into the funnel consistently and constantly, without stepping out of your house, constantly enriching them effortlessly. Sitting on Facebook and reading different posts about Swami, getting to know more people, is something that a lot of us do very conveniently every day. This time what we're going to do is really make this happen, do this with a purpose. And eventually the idea is to connect them with Swami and inner awakening. We are going to constantly grow a network of lives that we are going to enrich. We are going to build relationships with them where their realities are caused, and in the process we understand that our realities are also being caused simultaneously. And when we follow the process, the methodology that we have been listening to so far and putting them into action, we will see that we are able to create 1008 lives for every inner awakening. Next slide, ma. Okay, so constant enriching. We talk about something that needs to happen continuously. So how do we do it? One, we use Facebook from home with a purpose. Imagine there are about 400 of us MKTs sitting here, and each of us connects with at least 10 people daily, which actually means it is 4,000 people that we are connecting every single day. And that is more than enough to actually start establishing a network. Then with the 4,000 people that we have, connected with, we start a communication. We are prepared with the right kind of information, videos about Swami, Swami's talks, links that we have, and we begin our communication with people. Have the conversation. And one of the biggest things about any conversation is, first, simply listen. Say hello, share a link or share a video, share something that has value, share a quote, something that you feel is appropriate for the conversation. And remember, every small thing counts, everything enriches. So we have to be careful, and we have to be really good about our words, our thoughts, and our actions. When we are in that space, then we will directly be able to cause their realities. And in the process, we see that our realities are also getting caused automatically. And this constant enriching gets done along with the outreach efforts that are done through the programs that we conduct. Next slide, ma'am. So the next slide talks about, to give people an idea, we talk about numbers now. There are about 1 billion people who are online all the time. If we reach just 0.1% of that population, we can fill the hall for 992 inner awakenings, which is about 83 years of inner awakenings happening. 400 MKTs, once again, getting in touch with 10 people every day, which means 4,000 people are being communicated with on a daily basis. And even if 1% from that file intentions to go to inner awakening, that is 40 inner awakenings, 40 intentions a day, 1,200 intentions per month. Next slide, ma. So the next is we talk about Paul's example story. Next slide. So what we're going to do is have a step-by-step process to explain how you can try doing this. So let's say on day 1, Paul decided that he is going to talk to this person he interacted with on Facebook, and he figured out that the person wants to be successful. He wants to have a good relationship. So on the second day, he sent him some YouTube videos that were appropriate and matched exactly what the person was looking for. So then he gave the person a little time and then followed up with him a few days later, asking him, how was the video? Did he like it? Was it, something he enjoyed? Then on day 5, he sent him an invitation for the success webinar, and he asked him to definitely attend it. On the 6th day, this person actually attended the webinar and in fact brought a friend along with him. He was impressed enough in the past few days, enough to bring a friend along with him for the webinar. And then on the same day, Paul followed up with him and asked him how did he like it, whether he had learned something, was it useful, and in the process found out that the person had actually put in an intention for inner awakening. He had actually signed up for causing webinar right on the spot when people asked him about it. And then on the 7th day, he followed up with that person to ensure that he actually watched the causing webinar on the scheduled time. And so when he did that, he had already got him in the process of understanding what IA can do for him. He had already pre-sold him about the value IA was going to bring to him. Next slide, ma. So that was a sample conversation between Paul and another person. You can have your own conversations the way you are able to connect with people on Facebook. So step 1 would be start with groups. There are many groups that are existing in Facebook on a variety of topics, right? So what we are going to do is, how are we going to find these groups? And let's say on the first day, we join groups. Look at your interests, whether it's meditation or hiking, music, anything that comes to your mind. See, we are so many of us MKTs here who are actually people with different backgrounds and different interests. But the connection that we found with Swami is what has brought us all here together. So go with your interests, go with what you like, and then see if there are other people who you can connect with on the same way. Then look for groups that have a high number of members. The advantage to this is you will find a lot of people that you might be able to reach. But on the other hand, please don't give up on groups that have smaller numbers, because you never know where you're going to find the people who are ready to be enriched in this process. Then on the second day, start becoming active in your groups. You can actually comment on certain conversations. You can like certain conversations. Start conversations with the most active people that you see on the groups. They are the people who are wanting to say something, who have something to add. And if relevant, share some appropriate content from Swamiji. It could be a video, it could be a quote, anything. Next slide, ma. Now, make sure you're engaging with people in the group daily. So each day, what you can do is on Facebook, send about 10 friend requests and mainly start with those people that you are engaged with in the groups, because you've already established a conversation, a connect with them. And they will be the ones to listen to you first. Now have a minimum of about 2 to 3 posts on your own wall. And it needs to be something that's inspirational. Please understand that people don't like to be spammed. People don't like to look at posts that are 10 or 15 or 20 of them, random posts. They are looking for something that has value. They are looking for something that will make them feel good and has something that they will think about. Like posts by others and even comment on them appropriately. And if you feel it is okay with people, you can tag them on interesting articles that has something to do with the conversation you are having with them. And in the process, please make sure that people are okay that being tagged, because there are some people who don't like being tagged by other people. So please listen. Next step. So in step 3, now once you've engaged with somebody, now make it personal. On the first day, introduce yourself to people and start a conversation, start a personal rapport with them, saying, hello, I saw that you also like meditation. It's wonderful to meet you. And then on the next day, you can start sharing something about yourself which will help them feel the connect with you. And as you get to know them, please be in a space of listening to them. Help them, be in a space for them to pour themselves out into you, so that they feel you're there listening and understanding what they have to share. And find out where they need enriching. Next slide, ma. So now, on the next day, share some relevant videos of Swami. Could be on wealth, or could be on success, or anything about relationships. And then follow up with them in a day or so. See what they have to say. See what they feel about the information you have shared and how they are encouraged and enriched by them. And continue the conversation. Then after a few days, introduce them to Rewrite Your Future webinar or the Breakthrough Success webinar, whichever is appropriate for the conversation. Remember, you're actually trying to speak into their listening and enriching them. Next slide, ma. Always be aware and hold the right space. As much as possible, please don't spam. Just remember, you are here to enrich and cause another person's reality. And to make that happen, you need to hold the right space for that. And when people see inspiring posts, when they see something that is adding value to them, they will really feel thrilled about it. And they will want to be your friends. And when you're adding friends, one of the processes that you can follow is, you can maybe categorize people into different friend groups so that you can figure out how to converse, what is the information you can share, and how you can continue the conversation. Next slide. And remember, Facebook has certain rules and guidelines. For example, if we are going to friend more than 15, 20 or 30 people without knowing them, sometimes Facebook will give you a warning and will ask you, do you really know these people? And if not, and if we don't follow their rules, there is a chance that our accounts might be frozen. So please be aware and watchful. Follow the rules and the guidelines and make sure you're doing things the right way. We will actually help you go over the Facebook FAQs, the questions and answers out there. We will give you the information database, and that will help you go through this entire process. So keep building your list as it happens, and remember, there is no set method. This is just a general guideline. Your spontaneity and your way of enriching is going to play a very, very big role in this. Once your friend base starts growing, just keep reaching out and continue the process. You will be enriched here. Next slide, ma'am. So, to summarize this, there are about 1 billion people, like I said earlier, who are waiting to be enriched and to be enriched by you. Be confident. Do not be afraid to reach out. We have the best resource in this whole entire universe. We have Swamiji. There is so much to offer. There is so much to add and enrich. Just go with bold confidence and just do it. Share inspiring and value-adding material, and hold the right inner space for enriching and causing realities. Next slide. So, as we said in the earlier slides, in the earlier presentations, again, we are here to support you. We are going to make sure that everybody has something basic to start off with. We have a list of Facebook groups that somebody has been very, very good at collating. We are going to make that available to everybody so you can get started. But even otherwise, the moment you search, let's say for the word meditation in Facebook, you will find many groups that will come up. So you can go ahead on your own too, but we will provide this information. There is a collection of bliss bites that will be sent out also. Very beautiful quotes by Swamiji that can enrich many lives. And there are guaranteed solution collections on YouTube that will also be provided to everybody. We will provide the links so that they can be used appropriately. And also the Facebook policies and procedures will be handed out to everybody so that people are aware what is right and what is not appropriate. And we will conduct trainings for groups all around the world. Please send me an email at ma.muktika@innerawakening.org, and we will schedule it as soon as we can do it. And we are available to answer questions anytime. Please send us as many as you'd like to. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Great. So looks like everybody is clear and ready to go to Facebook and start enriching. Sounds awesome. And now we have Paul, who will be giving the presentation on meetup groups.
Paul, are you on the call?
Yes, Mukta, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, great. Yes, thank you. So, Sri Sadhana actually made this meetup presentation, and I don't think he's available today, so I'm just going to be delivering it.
Paul, your volume is a little low. Can everyone on two-way hear Paul?
Can you hear me now? Better? Yes, no?
Yes, Paul, go ahead. If you can be a little slower, people can understand you.
Sure. Sure.
Go ahead, Paul.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Yes, I was saying Sri Sadhana made this this meetup presentation along with input from Mamuktika Mukta Masnemai. So I just don't think he can make it today, so I'm delivering this presentation for him. I just added a few things to the end of it. So Mukta, my understanding is this is more high level. We're not necessarily going to go into detailed instructions and how to. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll cover part of these slides. I may summarize or skip around. But basically, we have this website called meetup.com. It's a very powerful website. The purpose of it is for people to have live, in-person meetings around some kind of subject that interests them, like meditation, yoga, bicycles, whatever it is. So what we want to do is we want to leverage this website for a few purposes. First, to create groups around a certain interest area, like yoga, meditation, pujas, homas, Vedic tradition, and have those groups constantly there so that they're like a light that attracts people to us. The second thing is there's already a bunch of groups out there, and people that are interested in those topics, like meditation, in those meetups. So all that work and that research is nicely done for us. So all we have to do is go to those groups and connect with those people so that we can enrich them. The third thing that we want to do is we want to use Meetup to find the people organizing those Meetup groups and start building a relationship with them to enrich them and cause their realities. Because those people have, they are running this group and they have access to the entire list, plus they have a relationship with the email list of people that are on their Meetup group. So if we can influence the influencers, then we'll have a good platform to spread Swamiji's message. And on top of that, it could be exposure or opportunities to do speaking and other things. So one second. Yeah, some of the slides I'm not reading off of directly. But just a quick background on Meetup. It's actually the world's largest network of local groups. And it's basically a giant grassroots website. It's like if there was a Craigslist for in-person meetings. That's what it is. There's about 15, 16 million people who are members. There's like 140,000 groups in almost 200 countries. And around the world, 2 million people are actually RSVPing for meetups every single month. And more are actually attending. So, next slide, please. So, this slide we covered. Next slide. Yeah. So one thing that Meetup can do for us is it can help us take a lot of the headaches and the logistical issues out of setting up, running events, charging money at the door, etc. Like Meetup has a payment thing, for example. So one of the things we want to do is we want to create Meetup groups. And this is a very simple process, and it's very cost-effective. For 3 months, it's like $45, so it's easily affordable in a temple in the center. And each Meetup account can have 3 groups. So you can have, for example, a yoga group, yoga meditation, another group on pujas, homas, Vedic tradition, and things like that, and a third group on life solutions, success, attracting success, wealth, relationships, things like that. If you want any more topics, then you just need to create another account. So for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to skip some of the specific how-tos, but I just want to give a brief overview. Next slide. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create a group that becomes popular in a certain topic. And basically every temple, satsang center, they should have several meetup groups around several topics that are always out there and doing at the minimum one meetup per month, ideally more often than that. So it's 1 second. I'm getting a text message that the two-way audio is gone. Is everybody else able to hear?
Two-way centers are able to hear. I think the one-way audio is down. Now it's fixed. So go ahead, Paul.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, so first things first, creating a group, right? So how do you create a group where people actually want to show up? It's not as simple as just putting up a group, putting Swamiji's picture, and calling it meditation. But I'm still getting a message from Houston that they can't hear on two-way. So if it's only them, maybe you can look into it.
And this is Mamta. I just joined the conference.
Okay. So how do you make a meetup group that's exciting, right? There's a process to it. We're not going to go into all the details now, but it works something like this. Ma, could you skip the next couple of slides and go past the screenshots? If you can go to group number 9. Yeah, or slide number 9. So the key to creating a good meetup group is you have to have the right keywords that attract people that interest us. So there's a whole process. I'll briefly summarize it now, but basically we want to look at all the meetup groups around certain topics like meditation, yoga, life solutions within your area and see which ones are most popular. Some groups are going to have thousands of members, and just look at how they're called, look at the kind of words that they use, and when you're creating a group, use similar words. Don't use words that you want to say, use words that people are searching for in order to find their interest topic. So once you create those groups, what do you do next? First thing you want to do is you want to fill it up with members, because it's just like going to an empty restaurant. If you walk by the street and the restaurant is empty, you kind of get suspicious and you don't want to join. So first thing you want to do is, as soon as the meetup's created, you have everybody in the Sangha and the Satsangis join that meetup group so that it shows a high member count. And then what will happen is more people will start joining just because of the social proof of other members being in that meetup. And the next thing you want to do is you want to start scheduling recurring events as soon as possible. So, for example, if you're starting a yoga meditation group, you probably want to do a meditation meetup at the very least once a month. Otherwise, I'd say once a week or once every 2 weeks. And you can host the meetups wherever you want, at the temple, at somebody's house, in the park. There's no restrictions. And you also want to keep the group active and feeling alive. Just like a Facebook wall, you want to constantly be posting information to it so that people see that events are happening, people are coming, people are happy. And it's as simple as posting pictures, getting feedback, and just posting things on the meetup wall. But the whole purpose of this is for people who want to search meditation or get involved in meditation in Los Angeles, for example. When they come to your meetup group, they want to see, like, yes, this is a real group of people that are actually doing something, and it looks like they're having fun at their meetup. Let me show up to the next one. That's the idea of what we want to create. Next slide. This is an example of a meetup group page, in case you haven't seen meetup before. It's the key information is it'll show the pictures up there, which you can click. It'll give the title of the meetup, where it has the events info, and then it'll also give a list of members and also the people organizing it. So this is what a meetup group is. Next slide. One second. I'm wondering if I'm wondering if you can skip ahead to slide number 17 or 18. So what I want to touch on now is actually getting an action plan for how to use Meetup. So specifically, every single person who's in a city or a center right now should be paying attention to this. And everybody responsible for a temple or a city center should make a plan to do these specific steps. So I'm outlining exactly what to do in order to leverage Meetup. So we're dividing it into two categories. The first is things that you do at the city and the center level. The second is things that individual people in the centers do individually using Meetup. And the goals are different. So first, at the city and center level, the major goals that we have are, there's 5 major goals. The first is that we want to start building personal relationships with leaders of other Meetup groups. The reason is we want to influence the influencers in our local community. There's no reason why in any city, for example, Houston, we don't know all the people that run yoga meetups and meditation meetups and have strong, enriching relationships with them, where we're helping cause their reality and building a level of trust. So, the slides disappeared.
The two-way got disconnected. Just Paul, hold on.
I can see New York. Hi, New York.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the two-way got disconnected, so we're just reconnecting. Give us a few minutes, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Paul, can you start speaking?
Yes. Yes, you can still hear me? Should I start this slide over?
Yes, as Paul.
Okay, so right now I just want to get into the guts of the presentation. This is specifically action plans for everybody to do. The action plans are divided into 2 levels. The first is action plan at the city and the center level, meaning I'm getting some feedback. Somebody's not muted.
That was my mic. Go ahead.
Okay, so the action plans are divided into two levels, at the city and the center level, and at the personal and individual level. The goals behind those action plans are different, and the set of activities is different. So I'm going to review them right now. One second. So at the city and center level, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a connection with all the local influencers and basically get to the point where we're on a first-name basis with those people all the people that run meetup groups related to our interest areas and have big lists of people in our interest areas locally, building the relationship with them and getting it to the point where every time they have an event, they invite us to come speak there, give some kind of presentation. And also, every time we have an event, they co-promote our event to their list. And any people that they know, they introduce us to them as well. So the goals at the city and center level is to build personal relationships with the leaders of other meetup groups, and also establish yourself personally, because we're all ambassadors of Swamiji. When we go out and we talk to people, people judge Swamiji as a master based on how his disciples interact and talk to people, right? Because that's their first exposure to him, is us, right? So be conscious of that. Another goal that we want to do, again, is to arrange joint ventures. Like, for example, if we wanted to promote NDY and there was somebody that had a meetup group with 3,000 meditators, we would definitely want that guy to promote NDY to his list. It would be good for us. Another thing is we want to simply enrich them and cause their reality, because that transformation that they experience will make them believers in Swamiji and the effects that they had or he had on their life. And that transformation itself is going to start coming out anytime they hold their meetups or talk to their list, and it'll be good. And yeah, so those are the goals at the city center level. Next slide. Next is, what are the goals at an individual level, right? If you're an individual using Meetup for enriching, what are your goals? So first thing is we want everybody in each temple and center to be active on Meetup. So if there's a meditation group, we want all the members of our Sangha to be in. So for example, if there's a meditation group in Seattle, we want all the satsangis in Seattle to become members of that meditation group, because it's going to start creating a presence, and people are going to start feeling that Swamiji is everywhere, because his people are everywhere. And that's one goal. The other goal is we want every person to build a list of people locally who are interested in interests that relate to spirituality concepts. Like every single person locally, we want every satsangi to build a list of, say, 10, 20, 30, 50 people each month that they start interacting with that are local. So not only are they enriching them, through the internet, but they can be there physically to meet up locally, whether it's at the center or, even for just a coffee or a tea. They're there locally. The other goal at the individual level, when you're connecting with people on Meetup, is to move them from Meetup to social media and Facebook. Why? First, it's a lot easier to chat on Facebook, but second, when you become friends with somebody from Meetup on Facebook, they start getting a 360-degree view of things relating to Swamiji, because they're going to start getting news feeds and posts from other people, basically talking about Swamiji, talking about inner awakening, and yeah, it'll be a powerful thing to do. And one second. So just to put numbers on it, just to drive it home, as an example, if each individual member successfully builds a list of just one person per day, that one person will have a list of 30 new people each month from Meetup that are local, interested in meditation and spirituality, and that they're physically close with, that they can enrich for local events, etc. Like right now for NDY, we have almost no people registered. Imagine if every temple or city center, if every single satsangi had a list of 30 people that they say, oh yeah, I'll call these people, right, and I'll see if they want to go to NDY. It will be very powerful. Just one person per day, right? If each city center has 50 people doing this, just one contact per day means 1,500 new warm leads each month coming in. warm, local, and interested in what we have to offer. Those 1,500 leads by themselves would make this whole thing worth it. And this is each city center. If we have 10 centers doing this, that's literally like 10,000 leads per month that we can be getting in. Powerful stuff. So, and if even 10 to 15% of those people end up going to a local event, that's enough to get a couple hundred people to various temple events and into the funnel, like physically. So because of this, you really want to be careful to ensure that your message and your strategy on Meetup is authentic and personal. Don't just copy and paste stuff just to say you did it. Focus on actually sending messages to people that enrich them and make them curious to get in touch with you. Come on, next slide. So here's the actual action plan. First action plan is at the city and the center level. So if you're responsible, if you're listening to my voice right now and you're responsible for a city or a center, then you should be making a note of this and trying to think how you can turn this into an action item quickly. If you're not responsible directly for a city center, but you're part of a city in a center somewhere, then pay attention and see what you can do from this to help your city and center achieve these goals. And then for what you're going to do personally, individually, is on the next slides. So action plan number 1, city center level. Ma, go back. Thank you. 5 things. First, the city and center should start minimum 3 meetups in 3 different categories. The first is yoga and meditation. The second is life solutions oriented around creating, manifesting your reality, having success, breaking through to the next level, gaining clarity, things like that. The third is Vedic tradition, Hindu temple, puja, homas, those kinds of things. So these are 3 broad categories that address many of the types of people that may have different interests. There's other interest areas that you can definitely create, but to start, make these 3 bare minimum categories. The second thing is, once you've created, you actually have to host an event. So I'd recommend each meetup group, minimum once per month, has an event. I've seen meetups that have events every weekend, every couple of days, and they're very popular. So the more you can meet, the better. The next thing is, once you create an event, we need grassroots marketing. So promote the events through local social media, grassroots, and local email list efforts. Otherwise, we can have a meetup, but nobody will know that we're actually holding it. And then there's just going to be one person sitting in the meditation hall, which would be embarrassing. The fourth thing is at the city and center level, you want to create a list or a spreadsheet of all the relevant meetup groups in your geographic region. First, share that with the local Sangha so that they can join it. But second, use that list to come up with a list of people that you're going to reach out to that are running similar meetups. And I have some screenshots later of how to do this. We may actually just want to skip that for clarity's sake. But the way it works is basically you go to a meetup, like the meditation meetup, and you find who organizes it. And then you simply post a greeting on their wall or send them a message and get involved in a conversation. So again, influencing the influencers is a powerful strategy we should be following. The other thing that we're going to do with the list of all the local meetups is actually send people out and attend their events so that you can introduce yourself in person to the leader of the event. And you also want to invite them to our meetups for free. It's a good way to build rapport and build a relationship. And the last thing is, if you feel the situation is appropriate, offer to speak, right? Whether it's about the 4 tattvas or enlightenment or healing, whatever it is. Offer the organizer of that meetup a chance to speak and teach at their events in case they ever need a speaker. So just to recap, that's what the city and the center, or what the city and center should be doing at a local level. So it's almost like these are your deliverables for Meetup if you're running a city. Next slide, action plan 2. So at the individual level, what do you do? So one thing is obviously help the city achieve their goals with Meetup. But at the individual level, what you're doing is you're mostly going around and connecting with individuals one-on-one and trying to get them to the point where they visit one of our lead magnets, basically. Or they come and meet you live at an event where you can enrich them in person. So at the individual level, first thing you want to do is set up a Meetup profile. There's some best practices, like you want to post the right pictures, also Swamiji's photo, maybe even have some links to some past webinars and things like that. 1 second. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to actively promote your center's Meetup events. This is something that everybody should be doing. So if the center has a yoga meditation Meetup coming up this Friday, you should be actively promoting that. Because as soon as people come in physically, then it's much easier to get them to pay attention to other things as well. Another thing you want to do as an individual is start joining and attending similar meetups to network with the attendees. What's going to happen is there may be only 20, 30 meetups that are relevant in Los Angeles, for example. But there may be 60 to 100 people that want to volunteer and do this. So what's going to happen is the people that run meetups, when they see so many devotees and disciples joining that meetup group, it's automatically going to start creating more credibility for Swamiji. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to work the local meetup list generated by your center lead. So there may be, and what you're doing is you're basically collecting people's information, sending them messages on Facebook, sending them messages on Meetup, and see if they respond either on Meetup or on Facebook. And if they do, chat with them for a bit, and then send them to the NDY payment page, or whatever it is that we're promoting at the time. And then the last thing is always be driving people to connect on Facebook as well. So even though you may be chatting with somebody on Meetup, specifically tell them that you want to move a conversation to Facebook. Mukta, I have a few screenshots here to illustrate what it is that I was just talking about. Do you think those should be presented or tabled until later?
Yeah, I think it's we are supposed to finish at 10. We're already about 9 minutes over. So I'll just let Manyanatma make the call.
Okay, well in that case, I wasn't aware of the timing, but I just jumped straight to the action items, and that's pretty much most of what I think needed to be covered now at a high level then. So just consider it done then.
Yes, Mukta, we have to wrap up now.
If there are any questions?
Yes.
Sure.
That's fantastic. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions that Paul can answer? I don't see any questions in Muktika's email inbox, so we'll just take all questions and move them to individual one-on-one sessions with all the groups. We already have seen a few cities have sent email requests asking to schedule a meeting with their team. We look forward to others also doing the same. That's it, Ma.
Mukta, can you hear me? Everybody.
Yes, Ma. Can hear you, Ma.
So I want to tell all the cities, please don't think we'll wait. It is mandatory that all cities participate. Ma Muktika and the rest of the project leads, they will be checking, and then please don't make them chase you. That's not nice. Let us all take responsibility. All the Mahants and all the city coordinators, let us please take responsibility and approach Ma Muktika to schedule. Let her not chase and go through the calendar and see which city has not requested. Please go ahead, be proactive and do it. Thank you.
So, Manyanatma, can we end now?
Yes, Mukta, we can end.
And this is a prayer?
Yes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Satguru Padukarpanamastu Om Nithyanandam